I'm going to ask Anna Southall, who started us off, it seems like quite a long time ago now, to say some closing remarks as we bring proceedings to an end.
Thank you, Rob. I must acknowledge, what a day. I don't know about you guys, but as a mere funder, my head is almost spinning. I'm hugely encouraged, though. And I think my task of just trying to draw a few threads together at the end has been very significantly helped by the extraordinarily able chairing by Rob, who I'm very grateful to you indeed for keeping us on track, keeping us focused on issues facing this particular age group, the young adults aged 18 to 24, 25, 26, whatever it is. We've been reminded that it's a process and not an event, and heard evidence, I think, in broadly four areas. Evidence of need for this distinctive approach. I don't know about the rest of you, you might call me very sentimental, but the film of the young people talking about their experience of the T2A projects, I have to say, produced tears for me just sitting there. I thought it was astoundingly moving. It's the first time I've seen it. And I'm very grateful to those that actually brought the voices of the young people themselves, young adults themselves, into the room today. We've heard some evidence of responses, of successful and very, very interesting systemic responses or systematic responses in Germany, but also the individual responses, again, not just of the T2A pilots, but during the breakout meal, coffee, etc. I don't know about the rest of you, but I managed to meet several people involved in mentoring projects, not dissimilar to the ones that the T2A pilots are offering, which makes me wonder, with my funders hat firmly on, just how much opportunity there is for people that are working in this sort of field across the United Kingdom to get together and to discuss how it's going for them, etc. Possible opportunity for a funder? Interesting one. We've heard quite a lot about the challenges. We have indeed been challenged to avoid mislabeling youthful behaviour as offending. We've been offered new champions, Mr. Ferguson from Manchester. But we've also been warned about the risks of stigmatising by labelling families as being chaotic or dysfunctional and identifying them as such. So if we do want to work with these groups, we need to be very careful about how we do it. We've also heard of some of the issues facing the service providers. We were reminded of the importance of local strategies and of the fact that that's the next challenge for T2A, but also of to be mindful of the national context, including the economic realities of today, and of the possible pitfalls as well as the opportunities that I personally believe are offered by different ways of financing these initiatives, such as the social investment bond and other payment by results methods. I think it's important, though, that we keep our feet firmly on the ground, so thank you for that warning. We've been reminded, too, of the importance of measurement of social as well as economic impact, and I think many of us have struggled with that for a very long time. We do have to crack it, but in that context, the ability to measure the possible economic impact and the ability, therefore, to talk in language such as periods of a government or 2 periods of a government, I think is powerful. We need to be careful how we use it, but it is very powerful when appropriately used. And finally, there are opportunities. I'm hugely encouraged by the research on public opinion. And I've been told, apparently, that the Twitter airlines, airwaves, not airlines, the airwaves, have been going mad, going bonkers, I think Max said. I'm fascinated by that, but I'm even more pleased to tell you that I have now seen online on a tiny handheld gadget the Daily Mail article, which is picking up pretty much word for word on the press release that was sent out. So that's, I think, in terms of public and indeed an inkling of political interest, we have huge opportunities. As a funder, yes, Barrow Cadbury have been here for a long time. This is not goodbye. We intend to stay with this issue until we have seen real progress. However, we do, before I make the appropriate thanks to everyone, just have one goodbye and one hello for you. So the goodbye, well, goodbye in a sense, Rob. I hope you're not going too far. But Rob, as you know, has been chair of the T2A Alliance since its inception in 2008. And very much as he has done today, has provided passion and wisdom during the development of T2A and the Alliance's policies and campaign. I asked what people would remember, and one Alliance member said, well, he's always so relaxed and yet businesslike. And the way in which he chaired the Alliance meetings was tremendous, always remembering individual names, always remembering a little bit personal, whatever, about an individual, and always valuing the specific contributions that they brought to the wider discussion. Something that resonated with me was he has a total knack for picking the right time to be irreverent, and I shall really, really appreciate that. You will be missed, and I hope that we don't lose touch with you, Rob, but it's an opportunity for us all to thank you for your invaluable contribution and to present you with, I was going to say a small gift, actually, it's grown since I last saw it.
Well, thank you very much. It's most unexpected and not really deserved. I really enjoyed. I've chaired quite a lot of things in my life, and this is one of the things I've really enjoyed. The meetings have always been lively. They've not always been easy when you've got 13, 14 different organisations from the voluntary sector around a table. You've probably got 25 or 30 opinions to somehow marshal into activity. But I think it's been quite a hard job to get purchase on this group, this age group, over the last years. But I think we've started to go there. I think there are opportunities. Of course, it's going to be difficult. But I think the difficulties in terms of this that young people will face over the next few years will focus attention on the responses of the criminal justice system. So the T2A Alliance is ever more needed. But for various reasons, I'm moving on to a different kind of career, which means I can't be reliable in the sense of I can't put things in my diary and guarantee to be there. And there's nothing worse than having an unreliable chair. So I thought it was a good opportunity to hand on the baton. So thank you all, particularly those in the Alliance, but all of those who've supported the work over the last few years. Thank you.
As I said, I have an announcement as well before thanking everyone. But I think what I might do is to thank everybody for organising this before introducing to you the next chair of the T2A Alliance. My thanks particularly to Rob for his chairing, and in his absence to John Snow, to all our speakers and panellists, but also to all of you delegates from the floor who asked such good and appropriately challenging questions. Lots of questions for the Minister, I wondered, you were champs. And also to what I think of as Team Barrow Cadbury, to Max Rutherford and to everybody at Barrow Cadbury and within other organisations, and indeed Team T2A Alliance for the absolutely magnificent organisation that went on behind the scenes. Now, bringing this conference to a close, I'd like to introduce to you the new chair of T2A Alliance, Dame Anne Owers. Dame Anne was, until last year, Her Majesty's Inspector of Prisons. I don't think she really needs very much introduction to you, but just for those of you who may not know, including our colleagues from Germany, she's currently the chair of Christian Aid and of Clinks, and prior to her role as Chief Inspector was Director of the Law Reform Group Justice, which is in fact where we first met, wasn't it, Anne? We're delighted that she has agreed to take on the interesting and challenging task of succeeding our first chair, and I'm going to invite her to say a few words, which I will take to be the close of the conference. Anne.
Thanks very much, Anna. This is the second time that I've had to follow the very hard act that's Rob Allen into a chair. I think I need to know what Rob's going to do next, because then for the first time in my life, I might know what I'm going to do next. I was so glad to be asked to do this because it's very close to my heart. It's nearly 10 years ago that I became Chief Inspector of Prisons, just after the 2001 general election, at which point part of the election manifesto of the then Labour government was that the youth justice system, which had created for those under 18, was going to be extended upwards. And the only question, and the question that was going around for a long time in the Home Office, is should it be extended to 21 or should it be to 25? That was the only question. And in the debate that followed around that, and the debate about whose budget it would be and who would have control of it, the idea got lost. And 10 years later, we are where we are now. And 10 years later, where young adults are being put out into a much more difficult environment. And Joyce talked about the supply chain for organisations, your organisations working with young adults, but you need to think also of the retail chain the other end. The thing that helps with maturity, that helps people to grow, is getting employment, is getting a home, is being supported. And all of those things are going to be more difficult for young people now than at that time of lost opportunity in 2001. So it's a difficult time, it's a challenging time, but it's also a time where it's becoming more and more apparent that what we have doesn't work. I'm doing work parallel to this, which is closing at the middle of this year in Northern Ireland, about what happens to the prison system there. And the next stage of our review is looking at young adults. And I think what we are very clear we are going to be saying is that the successful work with young adults in criminal justice doesn't mean that you build a new and bigger young offender centre. It means that you need to look at this holistically. And that's why I think this work is so important. That's why I'm absolutely delighted to be here. Thank you very much.